So not one person looked at you during your thing was very tough. I said, did you ever see any love or kindness? Like, did any of these people that were guarding you, the Hamas people, did they ever look at you and say, don't worry, you'll be all right? Or did they ever look at you and say, I'm going to sneak you a little extra bread or a little extra something for eating? Did they ever give you any hope? He says, no, not one. I said, you mean, so not one person looked at you during your 1.5 years in there? One was there longer than that. One was there a little shorter than that, different times. I said, not one. No, they used to give us a smack on the face. They would never do that. They not one. So there wasn't one person out of hundreds that said, I'm going to sneak you a little bread. I'm going to make sure you get home safely. Not one. And that amazed me, because in some really bad situations, you'd have some people like that. You'd have some people like that, but not one. And they were telling the truth. I mean, they were telling the absolute truth. And when I talked to them about the way they suffered, it was incredible. In fact, I'd say 4 or 5 looked very, very solid and normal, and 4 or 5 looked like they'd been through hell, but they were all through the same hell. And I looked at them, I said, I can't imagine what you've gone through, but we're going to do what we have to do. But I asked them a question. One was wearing 59, and I said, what does 59 represent? That's how many are left. I said, all right, well, get them out. I said, are they all living? No, 24 are living. I said, 24? He said, yeah, 24, only 24. So 24 out of the 59 are living, and they knew because they had just gotten out. And what are the others? The others are all dead. But I spoke to the parents of the others, and as much as you want your beautiful boy out, they want their beautiful boy, for the most part, as you know, boys, young boys, for the most part. But they want him out so badly. I said, is he okay? No, he's dead. But they want him out so badly, almost as much as if he were alive. It was an amazingly sad thing to see, the level of love for the children. And they didn't even view them as dead. They needed the body of their son, and they knew they were dead. But think of that, out of 59, you had 24 that were living, and now I understand it's not even that number. And young people don't die. They're very resilient. You know, you don't have young people dying. Young people are killed. Old people die. They can't take it. They couldn't breathe in some cases. They had them in a pipe, closed at both ends. If you're claustrophobic, it's a big problem. And many people are claustrophobic. But young people live, old people die, but these were young people that were dying, so you know what took place. As we bow our heads this beautiful day in the Rose Garden on the National Day of Prayer, we once again trust our lives to our liberties and our happiness to the hands of the Creator who gave them to us and who loves us. Who loves us? Think of it, where you are now, and so beautiful. But it's so nice because here you are in this unbelievable setting. I think no setting like it in the world. When you add up the importance, I take people into the Oval Office, and the biggest people, foreign leaders, princes, kings, queens, and presidents, and prime ministers, and a couple of dictators, I guess. They don't say that. They say, no, I'm a prime minister or I'm a president. And I say, no, you're a dictator, but that's okay. But I bring them into the Oval Office, and they just want to look. They can't believe it. It's the most important. And they all have beautiful offices. They are, in some cases, the wealthiest people in the world, in some cases, the most powerful people in the world. But they go into the Oval Office, and here you are right outside the Oval Office. And in one way, you're so lucky, but in another way, you're all fighting for people that you know are not so fortunate right now because of people like your beautiful son, people that are being really tortured because the level of anger and meanness thrown off by the human being, they say the lions and the tigers aren't nearly as vicious as the human because they only kill for food. They kill for food. They don't kill. They kill for food. The human being kills for sport. They try and destroy people, killing or otherwise.